Hello. Thank you for listening to and watching You at Options. This episode, I have Travis from the very good band, the Penske File, guitarist, singer, harmonicaist. We talk about their new record, Half Glow. It's out now on Stomp Records in North America and Gunner Records over in Europe. Yeah, great conversation. We grew up similarly. He was in the Canadian version of Catholic schools, and I was in the American version of Catholic schools. But yeah, talk about so much more. Talk about, getting confronted by Seinfeld fans about their name. Yeah, great talk. Go find the Penske File on social media, on Instagram at _Penske File. Go find You at Options at You at Options on Instagram. I had COVID a week ago. This episode was supposed to come out a while ago, but I had COVID. I've got some other stuff going on, some other projects going on. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with the potty. But thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy.
Hey, Michael, what's up?
Not much. How are you doing today? Thanks for joining me. Yeah. The Penske File is your band for the people listening.
This is true.
Yeah. That's got to be a Seinfeld reference, right?
Yeah, absolutely. When we made the name, I think we were in like grade 12. And it was kind of a double whammy because there's also a Kid Dynamite song called the Penske File, which is a reference to the Seinfeld episode. So we were like, this is great.
It's meant to be. Or are you a big Seinfeld person?
Oh yeah.
Can you like quote it and all that stuff?
I mean, I am, but I also only have so much available memory.
Oh, right. Oh, so, yeah.
I've watched the whole thing multiple times, but sometimes people are like, "Oh, Penske File," and then they say something, and I'm like, There's like a guy in the stock room in my memory bank that just randomly throws out the whole skid's worth of stuff,
Somebody mentions a random, obscure. They're like, "Do you know what George's sister's name is?" But it's like mentioned one time. Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, one time actually in Vancouver. This is just a quick little anecdote about the name. Somebody who's a hardcore Seinfeld fan came up to us and was like, asked us if it was a Seinfeld reference, and then we were like, yeah, and she was like, well, it's actually spelt wrong if it's a Seinfeld reference, because she went to and then she pulls up the screen play or not screen play, what I'm talking about. And she pulls it up and it's like Penske with a Y, and I was like, wow, well, cool.
Oh man, she didn't make you change all your merch and all your retroactively change it.
She was funny about it. It was just kind of, I was like, yeah, fair enough, right on.
Yeah, it's strange when people come up to you and not confront you, but have a very specific thing to tell you, and you've never met this person before.
Yeah. It happens a lot in Germany as well.
Really? Do you have a fun Germany set you straight story?
There's many, but one that always sticks out in my mind is because I play harmonica on some songs, more on our older stuff. So some set lists there's no harmonica.
Yeah.
And a guy came up to us and he was like, that was very good. I'm not going to attempt to do the accent because they'll just butcher it. But he's like, He's like, you guys were very good, but I only came to see you play the mouth harmonica, and you did not play it. And I'm like, thanks, man.
Right on, brother.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Next time.
Yeah, I flew across an ocean to be here, and play for you. And like,
Yeah.
no mouth harp, no harmonica. Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know. I get a kick out of it. Kick out of it.
German people are very blunt. It's like
Yeah. I
if
kind of appreciate it because I feel like North America, well, a lot of people in North America, like it differs everywhere, but people are,
yeah,
you know, they
there's
dance around saying something a lot.
there's a lot of like not wanting to be misinterpreted or like hurt somebody's feelings or which is understandable, to me. But
Yeah.
but German folks are just like, you smell bad or like whatever,
Yeah.
not a whole lot of like, oh man, this poor guy over here, that's the stinky guy, just let him live his life. No, man. But you guys have a new record coming out.
Yeah, we do.
It's been a minute, right?
Yeah. 5 years.
Nice. Are you very excited? Has it been I imagine it's been a very long process.
Yeah, we're really excited. So we actually just to get into the process a little bit, our last record, Salvation, came out in 2018, I think,
Yeah.
and we wrote most of the songs on Half Glow, the record that's coming out July 21st. We wrote most of the songs like in between tours. Um, when we were supporting Salvation, we wrote like probably more songs for an album than we ever had before, like
Mm,
25 plus.
yeah.
We were really we were touring like 4 to 6 months out of the year, pretty busy. And then like in between tours, we were, in the rehearsal space or in the studio. And yeah, it's been a long process because we started recording it kind of early 2020, if I recall correctly. And
Mm-hmm.
then I remember like hearing about the first lockdowns in Italy and stuff when we were in the studio, and we were like probably 80% done the record. But once the lockdowns hit, we kind of just took a forced pause. And then that forced pause kind of over time started to feel like a welcome pause. And then,
Mm,
it was like a year and a bit before we really like got back into the album,
yeah.
which was kind of like an advantage in some ways because we had new, fresh ears to go back and edit things and add things and all that.
Yeah. Did you feel like y'all, you know, you said torn like 6 months out of the year? Were you guys like, uh, was it time for like a break maybe? Were you guys running too
Yeah,
hot?
it was one of those things where it's like, I mean, some of us were like, kind of like, yeah, I don't want to do this heavily right now,
Yeah.
and then
Right.
other ones of us were like, come on, no, we got to do it, we got to do it, like, you know what I mean? Just kind of on the treadmill and like, scratching at the closed door, trying to like make a career and like,
Yeah. Yeah.
out of punk rock music is a very difficult thing. Oh, sorry, I should turn
Oh
off
my
that message.
Jesus. We got to start this whole thing over.
um, I'm just gonna turn my phone off. Sorry,
No,
but
it's all
yeah,
good.
sorry about that. Yeah, so
That's all good.
there was kind of that, and we were still going ahead, but it was just one of those things where we'd worked really hard and like kind of eking out a semi living at
Mm-hmm.
a pretty DIY level. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
there's so much amazing things about it, but then there's also a lot of tough stuff about life on the road when you're not making heaps of dough. It kind of makes it hard. Sleeping on floors is like a lot easier when you're 21 than when you're 28 or whatever,
Yeah.
29. And then anyways, yeah, long story short, it was like the pause wasn't something that we asked for, but once it kind of came, we kind of just let it happen and didn't really get back into the band stuff until we all felt like we wanted to. Like, meanwhile, all throughout this time, just because like James and Alex, the other guys in the band, they're my best friends in the world. We were still hanging out. Like once the lockdowns lifted and stuff, like we were still, doing camping trips with our pals and that kind of stuff. But it was just kind of nice that like every time we hung out, it wasn't like, oh, so here's this band thing that we need to talk about. We could just
Yeah.
like be pals without like we're still pals when we're in the band, but it was
Yeah.
just nice after having like 4 really intense years to like
Yeah.
not talk about that kind of stuff and just be pals.
Right. Well, I know situations the other way where they're like, I only want to get together if we're doing band stuff,
Yeah, totally.
you know. Uh, that's cool. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, it's weird to me when people in bands like don't like each other. Other than like Oasis and like
Yeah,
humongous people, like they can afford to not like each other and have a
yeah,
public like,
exactly.
oh,
They
we
can get
fucking
stuck
hate
in
each other.
your
But yeah, when you're like DIY punk bands, like what are we doing? If you guys hate each other, not you guys, the royal you, like this,
yeah, totally. Like, what's the point?
are we supposed to be friends and having fun? It'd be cool to make money, but like we, like you said, it's very very difficult.
Yeah, it's one of those things like we friends of ours in an awesome like kind of same style DIY punk band Arms Aloft, good pals of ours. Like they have a motto and they're just like if it's not fun, we're not doing it. And I feel like
Yeah,
that's a pretty good motto when you're operating at this level because like, you know, we're doing at the end of the day, you're doing it for fun.
yeah.
When you're doing it semi pro part time.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I don't know. Do you like wrestling at all? I bring this up like all the time on the show.
No, like I don't like have anything against wrestling. I just
Yeah.
like I know like I remember like Rey Mysterio. I remember
Oh yeah.
and the Undertaker. Like you know what I mean? Like I played those video games like when I was a
Oh yeah.
kid and like had friends who were into it, but I'm not like into the culture.
Yeah. But it's like but like going to like Fest and stuff, they've got independent wrestling shows. It's like a
Totally.
very very similar lifestyle of like we're driving hours and we're hoping to get like gas money, you know. And it's like if you don't love this thing and you don't love the people you're around, like what the fuck what are we doing?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Mm. Do you write a lot of the lyrics?
Yeah, I write a lot. So does Alex, our drummer, writes a lot of the lyrics as well. Think on this album, it's pretty much 50-50. Historically, it was like more slanted towards me writing more. Like our first album, I think
Yeah.
Alex had one song on it, and then the second one he had two, and then the third one, I think he had three or four, and this one's pretty much 50-50, which is cool.
That's
Um,
cool.
we write very differently, but he's like my favorite songwriter probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love a song so much, but it's like I'll write 5 or 6 songs in the time that he writes one. But just to put it in perspective, like I said, we had like 25 songs or something going into this album, and I think he had like 5 or 6, and everyone he wrote is on the album
Okay.
because they're all just like because he just like tinkers and takes his time. Where I'm like, bro, here's a song, blah, here's a song, and like it's just different process. Like I'm constantly writing songs and other things. It's just kind of part of my like existence. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah.
Do you write like books or like when
I mean, I aspire to, but I write
have
like
you attempted?
I have not attempted. I have many files scattered about in notebooks, computers, phones that are like ideas
Yeah.
for books. You know what I mean? And I have
Yeah.
like probably 4 or 5 like chapters of separate things that like you know what I mean.
Mm.
It's a huge undertaking. I think it might
Yeah.
be a retirement project if I ever get into the workforce that's long enough to retire. But no,
Yeah.
yeah, like I write a lot of I know it's kind of sounds weird, but like it's not weird. Like I write a lot of poetry and short stories and stuff as well. And I find, sometimes poetry and songwriting crosses for me. Like there's a lot of
Oh yeah.
things, what is that called? A Venn diagram?
Venn diagram. Yeah.
Yeah, there's things inside, but like there's also things that are poetry that don't exist in songs because it's with songs you got to think so much about the way things. I don't know. It's just different. But
Oh yeah,
sometimes I'll pull from ideas from like poetry into the songs if I'm like, writing a song and I'm like, oh, it's always the second verse. Usually it's like the first verse and the chorus will be like that, and then the second verse I'm like, and then sometimes I'll pull up like my poetry working document that I always kind of have up on my computer, and I'll just like scan things for like a couple words, and I'll be like, oh, that could make sense here,
yeah.
and then just like puzzling, like it's like Sudoku for a weird word person.
Were you a big reader, like
I
growing up?
mean, I am a big reader. I wasn't like huge, huge reader when I was a kid. Like I
Same,
read probably more books than like the average kid, but I wasn't like a bookworm by any means.
same,
In college, I think I started like reading a lot more, and that
same.
practice has continued. Yeah, same.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's like yeah, I don't know. When I was growing up, when I was a kid, like that was when like Harry Potter was popping off, and
Yeah, are you into
I
Harry Potter?
I wasn't into it. I could even as a kid, I tried. I remember I was like, and the books were fucking, to
They were
a
huge.
nine-year old, a 600-page book. I'm like, hell no. Uh,
Yeah,
but yeah, but like end of high school, like college was when going into college was when I started like, oh shit, books are cool.
yeah. What do you remember like if there was like a book or like a couple books that were like started that?
Yeah, do you know Confederacy of Dunces? You
Yeah,
hear that book?
it's been on my list
Read
of
it, Travis.
awareness. Yeah, like one
Yeah,
of my other pals who's like really into writing and books and stuff. We
yeah,
recommended me years ago. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
yeah. It's great. It's yeah, and I grew up like near New Orleans, and it's in New Orleans, set in New Orleans, and it's a big part. Like the city is a big part of. It's like almost its own character in the book. So just like knowing what they were talking about was another cool thing, like the landmarks that where they were and all that stuff.
Cool.
Yeah. But yeah, I had a question of. There's a lot of. Did you grow up Catholic?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I could. I don't know if it's like I did as well, and I don't know if
Yeah.
it's like uh, a buddy of mine who is in treatment. You know, like sayings are a big thing in the treatment world, and he was like, "If you spot it, you got it." Like that's one of their sayings that I love.
If you spun it, you got it.
Yeah, if you spot it, you got it. And so I was like,
Oh,
it's
right.
like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
listening to the lyrics. I was like, okay, this sounds like a a, a former or a person who grew up Catholic. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like it wasn't like a strict Catholic by any means, but
Oh, same. Yeah.
it's kind of weird in Ontario. It's like one of the only like Ontario is a province that I live in Canada. It's one of the only places. I think there's a couple provinces in Canada, but like we have publicly funded Catholic schools, which is
Oh, weird.
not right and really
Yeah.
weird because
That's
you know what I mean.
strange. Yeah.
Like yeah, like it's so weird too because like the history of Catholicism in Canada is more tied to the French side of Canada, and Quebec already like
Okay.
outlawed the publicly funded Catholic schools because I don't know. It's just one of those weird things where it's like, why would you have the government funding one religious school? Like
Yeah.
it's not really up to modern secular standards, which is odd. And we could talk forever about that. But yeah, I grew up
Yeah.
in Catholic school. I went from kindergarten to grade 12. I was in Catholic school, and we were kind of part of what my family would call the CNE crowd, which was like Christmas and Easter.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
it wasn't like shoved down my throat or anything at home, but it was just like culturally kind of there. And then, at school, we had religion class, which was, that was interesting.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's weird. Is separation of church and state a thing in Canada? I don't know, like all the Canadian laws
Yeah,
or like
like I think so. I don't know. Like,
yeah.
yeah, like it's not, but that's one of those weird remnants where it's like they still have publicly funded Catholic schools in
Right.
Ontario, which is like a weird remnant of like it. That's not like it is separate, but that part of it is not, which is weird. But yeah, like
Yeah.
a lot. Yeah, you picked up on some like different references and stuff. It's something I like, even you know, in like reading stuff like some of we were talking about books. Like one of my favorite books is East of Eden, John Steinbeck, and
Oh
that
yeah.
whole thing is
Yeah.
just full of like biblical allegory and stuff like that. And even like musicians and artists that I really love, like you know, like the Hold Steady. There's a lot of that. David Bazan. There's a lot of that. Like
Oh yeah.
those are artists that like totally inspire. Probably, I'm thinking back. Those two artists are definitely like people who inspired me while writing songs for this album, and
That's cool.
I like that imagery. It's like culturally available for me, but it's also like just there's a lot of it's just established um, wealth of symbolism to draw upon that I find fun.
Yeah, it's cool. It works. Like just I forgot what song it was, but listening to y'all today, getting ready for this, like Father, Son, and Holy Ghost was a line. I forgot.
They don't talk to me no more.
Yeah, yeah. That was that's an obvious one, but they're like
Yeah,
chorus girl. I think there's a little bit of stuff in there. But yeah, it's interesting. And yeah, it's weird because like Catholicism is all like symbolism, and I guess a lot of most religions are. But yeah, it's cool to play with like the layers of symbolism, I guess, to if that
for
makes any
sure.
sense. Maybe that's too weird. Too
No, it's not
abstract.
too weird. That's like exactly what I'm into for sure.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things. It's like I'm by no means whatsoever a. I wouldn't say I'm a Catholic or a practicing Catholic at all,
Nah.
but it's something I grew up with, and it's something
Yeah.
that exists in a lot of the music and literature and stuff I enjoy. So, why not
Yeah.
incorporate it in my own writing?
Similar. Yeah, it's like yeah, I think once high school was done, I think my parents gave up on all of their. It's three sons, so I got two brothers. I think they gave up on like, you guys aren't going to church anymore. I think they were just like, yeah,
Yeah,
whatever,
right on. Did you go to a Catholic school as well?
Yeah, I went to Catholic high school, and
Nice.
yeah, they're not. Yeah, they're private in America. If it's a
Yeah,
like Catholic school, it's a private school. Um, yeah, it's strange, going to church during school.
yeah,
Like
very strange. I remember like it was so stupid, man. I was like, this is not like even as a teenager, I was like, this is so counterintuitive. Like
yeah,
we'd have like school assemblies, and it would be like, if you skipped and you got caught,
yeah,
it would be like you might get a phone call home or something. But like during school masses, it was like they would have teachers like lining the perimeter. They'd have like teachers hidden around the school, and they would like chase you down and like try to like they were so much more hardcore about if you tried to skip mass, and they would like drag you back in. And I'm like, this is like, how do these adults not understand that this is like not the way to go about this?
yeah. I don't know. And it was interesting going to high school with kids. Like I grew up Catholic, but I went to like public school up until high school, and
Right,
which is no, you can't talk about religion like in public schools here, or you're not supposed to.
right.
Whatever. But anyways, but going to a Catholic school and seeing like there's a spectrum of like kids who care about the religion, and then like me on the other side is like I don't give a fuck. Like I just kind of. It was so weird. It was weird being around kids that you could tell were just like beat down by their parents about it. And I was like,
Yeah.
God, never had a chance, did you? Like,
It's
you
so
know,
weird.
it's
It's so
bizarre.
weird. Yeah, and like I will say, just for the record, that I'm the only one who went through like the other two guys went through public school, and they kind of like don't really know much about it in the same
Yeah.
way, other than the average person. But yeah, like I remember It's weird because I mean we don't have to talk about this for forever, but it is weird because I remember like doing it in the elementary school level. It was like you had math, you had geography, you had science, you had history, you had English, and you had
Yeah.
religion. At some point, you have to realize on your own that religion is different from all those other subjects. Like it's different
Right.
from,
Yeah.
but there's nobody, there's no teacher or no
Yeah.
explanation or nobody saying this is, you know, this can be interpreted symbolically, blah, blah, blah. It's just like you're learning math, and then the next hour you're learning about Noah, who was 600 years old. And I remember the first time that was the first, that's why I say that, because that was the
Yeah.
first moment where I was like, wait a second, what the heck's going on here? And it was like grade 4 or something. I put my hand up and I was like, how is that possible that he was 600 years old? And they were like, because he just was. And then they just kept
Right.
going on. And I was like, that is not good
Um,
enough for me. So ever since then, it was like the corrosion of this is, you know, fact, just like 1 + 1 is 2 or whatever.
yeah. I remember when I think I was in high school when John Paul II died. Right, that was it was kind of it reminded me of like when 9/11 happened a little bit of like when I was in a Catholic school. And so it's just like we're we're all taking this one, 5 minutes at a time here, people. Like it was like
I remember that too.
yeah, it was like then we watched the whenever they're picking the new pope and they're putting the smoke in the Vatican, coming out the Vatican. Is it gray or is it white or whatever? We were watching that like it was
Yeah,
presidential
I still
election type thing.
remember
And
like watching that in the library at my elementary school. Like, yeah, vague memories of that are coming back to me as you're describing it.
yeah, it's just so strange because I keep saying it's weird, which it is, but that's like uh because like you said, they're treating it like another like course,
Yeah,
like
there's no
religion.
distinction.
Yeah, and
Mind
it's
you, I
like
did have I had one good religion teacher in high school who was like a philosophy major in college,
yeah,
and he was also the hockey coach, and he was the best teacher I ever had because he just treated everybody like totally on the level, whether you were a stoner or like a brainer or whatever.
yeah,
And the way in which he taught it was like, this is like you can interpret this however you want, and there's things you can take from it. He's like,
yeah,
I interpret it symbolically. I am a person of faith, but you don't have to be to get something from this. And I was
yeah.
like, that way of teaching it made sense to me at that age. Everything else from the time I was in grade 4 till then, I was like, this is just the worst.
Yeah, no, yeah. You just kind of think it's like Star Wars, like magical stuff going on out in the universe or something.
I
And
probably would have been way happier with a Star Wars
for sure,
course.
yeah. No, this is like this. Okay, it's like the DMV of Star Wars, like the government
Yeah.
bureaucracy of Star Wars, where it's like, you don't
Yeah.
have this form, man. Sorry, you got to come
Sad.
back in 6 months to try
No,
when the window opens up again.
no space jazz for you.
No space. Yeah. Ah. uh, with this new album,
Yeah.
is are there like are there elements? I don't know, like new instruments, or you guys mess with instruments or anything that you guys haven't messed with
Yeah,
before?
we messed with, like with a little bit with keys on this record more than
Mm-hmm.
others. The way we recorded it is pretty in line with how we did Salvation, which is just like we'd run each song 3 or 4 times live with just like because it's just the three of us, you know, the power trio, guitar, bass, drums. We'd run each
Oh yeah,
song 3 or 4 times live
that's
like
right.
that, and then just slowly pile on a million things on top of those three instruments, and then
Yeah.
slowly take away and like bury things down so it's like doesn't sound like a lot more, like, you know what I mean, so it's still
Oh yeah.
there's just like a lot of ambient, you know, ahs and shakers and that
Yeah.
kind of stuff and extra guitars, and you know all that stuff is really fun to do, and I find it makes things sound really really good. And it's cool when you get into the process of that, because then you get an ear that's different when you're listening to other music, because there's so many things and songs that like add to them, but you can't really pick them out unless you, I feel like, unless you've been through those kind of recording processes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the way in which we did it. Yeah, not too much new instruments, just probably like, I think I was learning piano as we were doing this. So, and like throughout COVID, I started messing around with like just doing like I had some of the files and I would add some stuff at home and little bits like that, just little flavors. But other than that, nothing too different than what we've done instrumentally in the past.
Hmm. Yeah. Have you always played guitar in bands?
Yeah, so like I've always played guitar in this band basically.
Yeah.
So we started playing together when we were, well, me and Alex, the drummer, we decided to get instruments together like one night when we were like 10, maybe 10,
Damn.
while our parents were like partying upstairs and we were listening to the Blink 182 live album and
Oh yeah.
being like, I think the way we decided the instruments was like him saying, I want to be Travis Barker, and me saying, I want to be Tom DeLonge. And then it was
Hell
just
yeah.
settled from there. And then James lived across the street from me. And then he also wanted to play guitar. And he started playing guitar at the same time I did. And then I think we had like, so our first band started when we were in like grade 6, and we had a guy on my hockey team played bass, and it was like the first time I ever heard of anybody who played bass, and he had an anti-flag t-shirt or something, and it was like,
Ooh,
okay, you're in. But that
this
didn't
gets
last very
cool.
long. Yeah,
Yeah.
that didn't last very long. And then another pal of ours played bass, and then, but by the time we were like 13, James was the bass player, and we had another guitar player, our good buddy Chris, who passed away like near the end of high school. But we were a band called the Bad Names from the time we were 13 until more or less the end of high school, and then we changed our name to the Penske File in grade 12 and have been together ever since. So it's like, yeah, I've been playing guitar
Damn.
basically in this band for way more than half of my life at this point.
Damn. So same three guys since the beginning of Penske File?
Yep. Yeah. So
Wow.
when we first started, it was actually Chris, our good buddy, who passed. He was the one who, like, he came up with a list of like 8 names near the end of grade 12 when we were like, we got to change the band name because we're like not playing ska punk anymore.
Yeah.
So we're kind of doing different things. Let's, start a new chapter. And of the list of names, Penske File was one. He came up with a list of like 10 names, and that was the one we disagreed on the least. So we we picked it without
Okay.
too much thought. And yeah, so then, but yeah, mostly like we only played a few shows as the Penske File before it became just a 3-piece.
Okay. Wow. That's cool. It's it's especially in the DIY scene, it's rare to see like a band that has had the same members, pretty much
Yeah,
since the beginning, you know.
yeah, it's one of those things where it's like those guys, like I said before, they're my best friends in the world. They're like literally family. Alex, the drummer, his dad and my dad were pals since grade school. James moved across the street from me when he was 4, and my mom babysat him. So it's like we're family. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's crazy. Do y'all live near each other now?
Yeah, near enough.
Yeah.
James is still in Burlington, where we grew up, and I'm in Stony Creek. Alex is in Dundas. We were both on like Hamilton proper is here, but then there's like 5 little towns around it, and we're like
Okay.
on either side of the little towns that are technically part of Hamilton, and
Okay.
Burlington's the next town over. So it's like 30-minute drive for me to get to either of their places.
Okay. The
But we spent many years living together too, like throughout college and
oh,
after.
yeah. Yeah. Did you guys have like a house name?
Yeah, well, no. Well, so we had 2 different houses that we did shows at. One was in
Mhm.
St. Catharines, which is kind of more close to Niagara Falls. That one was a little scary, just because we were like 19, 20, and it was the
Oh,
first time
yeah.
we lived on our own. And then we were like,
Prime
yeah.
time.
Like, we had
Yeah.
a neighbor who would come in after a party with his like industrial leaf blower and just blow all the cans to the back door. Yeah,
Love
yeah.
it.
Yeah, and then we had another house after that in Burlington, which was a little bit more civilized. People just refer to that as the Penske house. We did more shows there. We
I
lucked
like
out
it.
because we moved into a house that was like on the main street, right next to the on ramp to the highway. So it was like we could do shows and people could still be playing at 1:30, 2 in the morning, and like
Oh yeah, you got a damn
nobody
highway
cared.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, there's just like we had one neighbor that could kind of hear, but just because of the highway noise, like you couldn't hear from the driveway. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
yeah, we had a lot of good times there.
Yeah. The neighbor's like, yeah, I think I hear like a Ampeg stack and a couple of
Yes.
like Marshall cabinets, and you're like, I think that's I think that's the highway you're hearing. Yeah.
Yeah, the only time we ever had a complaint was once. I don't think it was a show. It might have been after a show where people were just jamming. It was like 2 in the morning. Somebody had
Oh
opened
yeah.
the window, and the neighbor just
Ah.
came over and was like, "Can you close the window when you're freaking?" Yeah, and we're like, "Oh yeah, for sure."
Jamming at 2 a.m. Yeah.
Yeah.
Were there any bands of note that came through the Penske
I
house?
mean, yeah, like a lot of bands from around here. I'm trying to think. Like nobody crazy. Like we were more or less like we weren't like actively a running
Yeah.
venue. We were just like, if our friends asked us, we'd be like, we'll put you on a show at our house. And I used to abuse people with the empty coffee pot and get really drunk and be like, hey, give me money. And like, bands would also make good money, you know? So like we probably only ever did like 7 or 10 shows there, but it was usually just like any pals coming through that would hit us up. We'd be like, yeah, why not? Monday night? Sure, let's do it.
Hell yeah. Monday, Tuesday,
Yeah.
prime spots of the week.
It was a different time.
Yeah. Um, did you grow up playing hockey? Like
Yeah.
how long did you play hockey for?
I mean, I'm playing hockey on Thursday.
What? Is it like a beer league or like an adult
Yeah,
league?
it's like not even a beer league. It's like
Full
it's just
contact?
yeah, no,
No,
no.
just joking.
But I played like, competitively when I was younger, when I was like 12, 13. But I've been playing since I was 4 and I still play now.
That's cool.
But like, yeah, Alex is in the league. That's like a beer league. And me and James play like on a pickup night. That's just like some pals that I played high school hockey with and stuff that they organize. Like basically, it's just like there's no refs, there's no anger, there's no fights, but it's still
Oh,
like good quality hockey. You know what I mean?
I was hoping you're going to say there's no refs, there's no rules. It's just
I mean, it's like the rules are. It's pretty like after playing a few years of like beer league, it's like There's a lot of like people who have a lot of misplaced aggression that they get
shit.
out
Shit.
in those
Yeah.
kinds of sports, which
Yeah.
is like it's better to get it out there than elsewhere in their lives for sure. But still, it
Yeah.
gets to the point where it's like I don't need this kind of like
Right.
aggro, you know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
just I much prefer like playing still like good quality hockey with my friends, but if like every once in a while you're skating around fast, like somebody gets tripped up or whatever, but like it's like an accident. You're like, oh, I'm
Right.
sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like no, it's all good, man. It happens. It's
Yeah.
not like
It's
because it gets pretty
game.
nasty in the men's
Yeah,
leagues.
dude.
Like
Oh yeah.
people take it seriously.
Some folks think it's game 7
Yeah,
of the
totally.
Stanley Cup, and
Yeah,
there's 10 seconds left,
yeah.
and we're tied
Seriously,
here. Yeah.
seriously, seriously.
Yeah. We've I've played men's leagues like soccer. And yeah, I'm more of your speed of like, let's just have some fun and let's try and do some cool shots or whatever,
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I love the
But
sport and I like, playing it, but I just people take
but
things
yeah,
too people take things so personally and it's like just relax.
it is the same thing in men's league soccer. The
Yeah.
same energy of like
Yeah.
this is not, the 120th minute of the World Cup final,
Yeah,
we're
seriously.
tied here. But yeah,
And also
hockey is
it's not my fault your job sucks.
right. I'm sorry. Wherever you work at doesn't fulfill you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you hate your family. Your kid, you hate your kids, you hate your wife, you hate everybody in your family. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to have fun out here with my bros, and
Yeah.
you're working on whatever you're working on over there.
Yeah.
Oh
Sounds like it
man.
maybe would be better in like laying down on a leather chair.
Can we do that? Is there a men's league for that? I think it's just
Men's
I think
speak
it's just
therapy.
therapy. Yeah, I think it's just called therapy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel
This
that.
everybody goes to their separate therapist, and then they get to drink 2 beers in the parking lot after.
That's right. Yeah. We can drink beers in the parking lot. We can do all the shenanigans that go along with sports. Goodness. Yeah. But yeah, it's funny playing with the adult people who are I'm not trying to win the whatever shitty trophy we have,
Yeah.
that bad. I ain't putting it all out. Yeah, I'm not like. And the older I get, obviously, the more I'm like, fuck, man, I'm not trying to like tear an ACL or like an MCL or tear anything. Just being out playing for fun out here.
Yeah, I made the mistake of blocking a shot like 5 days before I was going on a trip to Scotland and Ireland with my wife, and I was like hobbling along the first little while, and I was like, you know what? Next time I'm not going to try and block the shot because like
Ain't
this
worth
is
it.
pickup hockey and it does not matter.
Is that the worst injury from pickup hockey you've had?
Yeah, yeah, that's the worst one
No.
I've got.
Wait, so a guy shot, it
Yeah,
just
and it's
went
just like
straight
I
in your
blocked it,
leg.
but it hit my like ankle in a weird way, and it was like really close to the shot. But I like totally like moved into it because I was like
I'm
playing
blocking this thing.
defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was like, you know what? Not worth it. We're not
The
even really keeping score.
So are y'all wearing like full pads, full gear, full everything?
No, I just like bottom pads. Like I don't wear the upper stuff, but like I wear a helmet. Some guys don't wear any cage, but like I wear all the bottom stuff, not the top stuff.
No helmet.
Helmet, yeah.
You wear a helmet? Does it have a face mask?
Yeah, I wear. Some guys have the helmet with no face mask and they just send it, but I'm like,
Too proud. Too, too
yeah. I'm just like, I don't want to. I don't know. I don't want to get hit in the face, lose a tooth or something.
Do you keep up with hockey, like NHL?
To be honest, like we grew up around Toronto, so that's like the only sports team, unfortunately, that I care about is the Toronto Maple Leafs, and
Yeah.
but I don't have the mental or emotional capacity to care about them all year round. So like if
Yeah.
they get in the playoffs, I'm like, okay, it's on. I'm watching every game. But
Yeah.
the other 82 games of the season, I'm like, I kind of keep abreast of it, but I don't really watch much.
Yeah. It's my mom's family. Well, my mom's family is from Tampa, and my dad's family is from Boston. So I've got like the Lightning and the Bruins to
Yeah, so
keep
like
up.
the teams that
If either
this
of them are in the playoffs, I'll keep up with them. Yeah.
yeah, those teams have both beat us in the playoffs like a lot in the last decade.
Yeah. It's a I don't know, it's a fun it's like it's a fun sport because like I'm super into like soccer, and I was playing NHL 23 earlier today, and I was just thinking like there's strategies to like run out the clock in soccer of like
Mhm.
diving or like whatever, like laying on the ground a whole bunch. I'm like, there's none of that in hockey. You can't like, oh, you know, I've
Yeah,
got this
it's true.
injury. Can we get the stretcher out here? And like, I don't know. Hockey's just such a cool sport, and there's nothing like it, really.
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite, but it's not for everybody in Canada, but it's definitely like, it took me like when I was probably 13 when I realized that hockey wasn't the biggest sport in the world because you live very local insular lives when you're
Oh
young,
yeah,
right? And
yeah,
that's I was like, and then I was like, whoa! When I realized it was like not even one of the top five biggest sports or top 10, I was like, crazy.
yeah. It's like I imagine up there, you get like lakes that freeze over, bodies of water that freeze over that you might be able to go skate on. It's like,
Sure, like around here, there's definitely like a couple that we go to when conditions are great. Even my buddy lives like a couple hours up north, and like he lives across from a lake. And this winter we were out there, and out on the lake playing hockey. Good
man,
times.
it's a growing up in Alabama. There weren't
That's
too
not
many
good.
frozen lakes, near us. So
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
it's but it's the same. Where it's like Alabama football isn't the biggest sports team in the world. Growing up as a kid here, like that's all
Yeah,
you fucking hear about is Alabama.
I don't even know.
University of
See, I don't
Alabama.
even know. I'm assuming that's like a university team or something.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
and they're kind of like, I don't know, the New England Patriots of uh college football in
Right
America.
on.
And so it's just like, what else is there? Like even like baseball isn't super huge down here, but it's like yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's different strokes for different folks. I don't even know how we got on this
Yeah, yeah.
tangent, Travis. Uh,
Great tangent.
uh, yeah, I like it. It's fun. This is what the podcast is about. Like, I don't, when we were emailing each other, it's I think the term interview gets thrown around, which it is in a sense, but we're just talking at each
Yeah,
other.
I dig that.
Yeah, because it's
I
like
dig that.
the thing I hate about some podcasts is I can tell like obviously I've got like an idea of what I want to ask you,
Hmm.
some stuff, and some stuff we go on about, but like knowing that people have like specific questions, and that's the whole thing, is kind of antiquated to me. I don't know, it's like
Yeah, I agree.
late
Especially these
night.
days, like the form of podcasts. It's like, I feel like back in the day when it was like 2 minute segments or whatever, and certain different
Yeah,
things like radio or blah blah blah. It makes sense, but yeah, I'm a big
yeah,
fan of the like open ended but guided interview. Like I don't
yeah.
know, I'm a huge Mark Maron fan. I don't know if you ever listened to
I listened
his
to
thing.
him like a whole bunch. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So like I love that kind of style of just like if you go down a road and it's worth going down, just keep going down it kind of thing.
Yeah. Have you had an opportunity to do a bunch of podcasts for Penske File?
Yeah, yeah, we've done a few. I mean, like it's been a while. Like I've done definitely a handful in the last month.
Yeah.
I can't really count how many, but like a good little chunk in the last month. But before that, since the last album, I've done a lot, but nothing like too crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fun. Some people, uh, I've had some people on where like they kind of, I don't know if they just like had a bad day or like just don't want to like talk. And I'm like, okay, well,
Yeah,
why are we doing this then? Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
just ask them a question. It's just like,
Yes.
what was it like recording this album, Travis? And you're like, it was cool. I was like, right on.
Cool.
Okay, next. All right. But yeah, it's been fun, man. Yeah, I think we can wrap this rascal. Uh, do you have anything? You guys are going on tour with Make War, right, in Canada?
Yeah, yeah, which is cool. It's kind of been a long time coming in a way where, we run into each other at all the fun things over the years and always have a
Oh
good
yeah.
time together. And it always it's come up like, yeah, we should do shows. We should do shows. And
Oh yeah.
then it worked out when we were kind of getting ready. I sent Jose from Make War a text and he's like, we're in the process of booking a Canadian tour with the same guys who book us. And I was like, oh, this makes perfect sense. So we're doing that, Ontario and Quebec. And then, yeah, we're going to been announcing a tour out west in Canada soon. And then, some stuff abroad later.
Oh yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this will come out after the album has dropped. the following week after the album has come out. So yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, so we've got some Canadian stuff on the books, and then we'll have some stuff in Europe and the States to follow. Things are in process.
Hell yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So July 21st, the album
will have been out.
Okay.
It's coming.
That's what I was pitch. Yeah, that was I was teeing it up for you.
Okay. Oh yeah, the album Half Glow coming everywhere. Please listen. Spend all your money 0.00004 cents at a time on us, the Penske File, your new favorite band.
Stomp. It's coming out on Stomp Records,
Stomp Records in North America and Gunner Records in Europe.
Oh yeah, great. Love both of them.
Yeah.
Cool. Travis will stay on for a minute after we're done, but you had options and you decided to talk to me. I appreciate it.
Oh, I did have options, and you did as well, so thank you for talking to me as well. Awesome. Yeah. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Travis. Hold on.